Good evening and welcome to Education Number One Priority. I'm Dr. Mary Jane Garza. Have you ever wondered about careers? Have you ever said, I wonder what this career looks like? I wonder what this career involves. Have you ever said to yourself, oh, I wish I had an opportunity to go and visit so I could learn more about that? Or have you ever said to yourself, I really don't know why I've got to learn this math and this science and all of this. I just don't see the value. Well, there is a program that sort of answers all of those questions for that student who simply says, I don't understand why I'm learning all this. And today we have Dr. Rich Hammonds, who will tell us about the program. And in 2011, I had asked him to join me. And now, 5 years later, it's still going on, and it's making an impact for our students. Welcome to Education Number One Priority.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garza.
It's my pleasure. Well, first of all, just talk about who Dr. Rich Hammonds is, okay? And then the passion you have for this program.
Well, I was born and raised here in Corpus, went to school across the street at Ray High School. Went off to the University of Texas, and as the years went by, I found myself more and more drawn to what they called at-risk programs. Programs for kids that weren't straight-laced, garden variety, just like everybody else. Maybe because I myself am an at-risk type person, I don't know, but my father was a minister. And he always said, reach out to the ones that need your help. And so maybe that's why I fell into the line of work that I'm in now. Ever since I did my dissertation at the University of Colorado on prevention of dropout kids, way back in the 80s, I've worked with one program after another, whether it be Summer Connections, SPICE, been the principal at SLGC, at the Alternative High School Center. That's just kind of my passion.
And the program that you sort of are the executive director, the president, is called what?
HELP.
HELP. And what does it stand for?
Well, it stands for Hammonds Education Leadership Programs. We sort of invented the name to go with the acronym. In other words, it was a reverse engineered job because HELP is so many of our kids just need a little nudge. You're just at the right time, at the right place. So many kids don't know why they're in school, why they should, as you so accurately pointed out, why math? I'm never going to use this. Then you go out to the real world and you see, you need those communication skills. You need those math skills. You need the things that school teaches you to succeed in public life, which after all is the whole reason we have school.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about that. You mentioned at risk, and when I visit with people, I always say, children are in at-risk situations. And unfortunately, when they do encounter that, they lose faith in the system, and then we call them a dropout.
Yes.
So I think one of the things we need to visit with and make sure people understand that the dropout issue is a very big problem throughout the United States.
Huge.
And
when you think of the fact that, as one researcher put it, imagine a yellow school bus crowded to the brim, driving off a bridge into the water. Now imagine that happening every 5 seconds. And you get an idea of, across the country, the number of kids that are dropping out of school on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And some of them do all right. I'm not saying it's automatically a death penalty, but the chances of succeeding and of getting a high-paying job and of being a significant part of the economy, dim.
Yeah. The majority, unfortunately, and your analogy in terms of the bus and it going off, unfortunately, it does occur. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is why I want to visit with you about this particular program. What makes HELP different from other programs that are in our city that help students?
Sure. Oh, and there's many. We're just one of many actors that try to do our bit. We believe that dropout prevention comes through career exploration. There is recent evidence from England and other places to suggest that students in high school who have opportunities to visit careers and to do job training kind of things are 5 times less likely to drop out than those who do not. And this is, equalizing for other factors. That's pretty significant. That's not just a random wobble. That means that kids that get an idea of what they're going to do and who get to see it, who get to do it, who get to watch it being done. We don't have books. We don't do lectures. We do presentations sometimes. When we have, let's say this week, we have a combat surgeon who is now a DO in Corpus Christi, a doctor of optometry, who's going to be coming over and talking to the kids at Miller High School, right here, the kiosk that we put in a couple of weeks ago. She's going to talk to them about what it's like to be a surgeon, both in combat and in real life. 2 weeks after that, the kids that really kind of find something juicy in that, something meaningful, and who stick the course, will qualify to go on an exploration of Spahn Hospital, which we also have set up so that it becomes a continuum, not just a way to get out of school for the day, and not just read chapter 3, pages 12 through 14, because we're having a pop test. It's, how does this feel to you? How does this smell to you? How does this taste to you? Can you see yourself doing this? We have a motto: how can you find the job of your dreams if you don't even know it exists? We want to make sure that kids know that these really exciting, vivacious, vibrant jobs exist all around them, but they don't know about them because no one shows them. We try to show them the jobs. And if there's a difference between us and other programs, it would be the fact that we take as many trips as we do. Since we've started, we've had over 3,000 students and clients go on over 250 different visits to 110 different places in the 8 years that we've been in operation.
Okay.
And out of that, I know that we have at least 168 as of last night, who are working because of our program. They saw something they really liked, and they pursued it with our help, and they got lined up.
And that's what I want to follow on. So you already answered some of the questions. You've been in operation 8 years. Mm-hmm. You've impacted quite a few students. And you said 100 and so, but can you give us some specifics?
Sure. Can
you say, without names or whatever, this student I know is doing this student is doing this. And the reason is so people can hear this and say, okay, mm-hmm. It not only did it make a difference, but here's somebody that is doing the following.
Well, I have a guy that's diving in the waters off of Tanzania in Africa right now. He came in and we got him lined up with a scuba diving company, and the last I heard from him on the internet was that he was in Africa making a lot of money. The guy last night is working with Flint Hills, or with one of the contractors at Flint Hills, because he went on a trip with us there. He saw it, he liked it, he thought, I can do this. I think I'm going to try to get in here. We gave him a little assistance, introduced him to the right people, and now he is doing what he wants to do. Gosh, we have people that are nurses now that have gone through nursing school. We have folks that are roofers, that are scaffold builders, that are painters, that are welders, several handfuls of welders, because it's a great job. And as we renew our economy, as the economy rebuilds, which it must do, as these new plants that are coming in build, they need people who know how to do the skills.
I was going through your brochure, mm-hmm. and it talks about the different things that are there. Now, career clubs, are those in the high schools?
Yes,
or
ma'am.
Where are the career clubs found?
The career clubs are based around the Window on the World, which is a specially designed and accuted computer that lets the kids come in and take virtual field tours, field visits, field trips to places like Valero, to places like Citgo, and other places around town, the hospitals, the manufacturing sites, the port, the Corpus Christi Police Academy. They see what it's like, and then they might gravitate towards taking one of our trips with us to that position. That's how most of our kids get excited about careers, is they see them first in the Window on the World, which is the anchor of the career club, which can be in the cafeteria, kind of noisy in the cafeteria. Usually it ends up in the library or in the career center.
So is it web-based? Is it CD-based?
It's based on videos that we have taken when we took tours.
Okay.
So it's all proprietary stuff that we own. There's videos that we've taken when we took kids on tours. The amazing thing about it is that the kids in the schools get to see people just exactly like them doing the cool things that you get to do when you go on tour. And so they think, wow, that looks like a whole lot more fun than what I'm going to be doing next Thursday. Maybe I should go and do that.
Okay, so basically, how many career clubs are located here in Corpus Christi?
There are 11.
Okay. Are they all at the high schools?
There's 3 middle schools and 8 high schools, 6 of which are in CCISD.
Okay. Now, does every student have the opportunity to look at it?
Yes,
or is
ma'am.
there a certain
No.
population that...
Like we said earlier, the only reason for a high school is life.
Okay.
I mean, right? It's a
Right.
stepping stone. It's not an end. So no, every kid who's there has an opportunity to be in the career club, which is really is a club and organized in several high schools locally, you know, with officers and bylaws and the whole thing, and that's great. If you're a student who expects to graduate someday and get a job, as far as I'm concerned, you can be in the career club. That's really all it takes. And the willingness to go out and look for your future rather than just placidly hope that it gets delivered to your front door like a pizza, which is not going to happen.
So then you work with all of these 11 schools?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and the reason I'm saying to this, even though you are not affiliated with any school district, it's a nonprofit.
Yes, ma'am.
You are working in partnership with several school districts.
We have memos of understanding with several school districts and with, as a matter of fact, one entity in San Patricio County that's not a school district. It is it's the Justice Juvenile Center in San Patricio. We also have an understanding with the JJC here in Corpus Christi where we take kids from the JJC who are on probation. A program that we devised under the direction of Brent Chesney. Commissioner Brent Chesney, when he was the judge of the juvenile court, asked us to come in and work with him to design a program which we call Second Chances, where kids who are on probation serve part of their punishment, if you will, by going out and looking for jobs. Because he thinks, as do we, that that's the best way they can get even with the world is getting a job and paying taxes.
Okay, so part of the sentencing process then was that they be part of this particular...
Yes, ma'am. The judge selects the students that he or she wants to be a part of the program. They have to show a certain inclination towards bettering themselves.
What age level are we talking about that you particularly serve with your program?
Well, junior high and high school, 14 through 17, 19. We do have some older clients that we get from the state through the Department of Assistive and Rehabilitative Services. That's the other, it's kind of like a stool. You know, we work with the schools, we work with DARS, and we work with JJC. The DARS stool is the most specific one. Those are people who have disabilities.
Okay. What does DARS stand for?
Department of Assistive and Rehabilitative Services of the state of Texas.
Okay.
And DARS is for people that have, well, let's say scoliosis. Let's say they got run over by a truck. Let's say they have some other maladaptation that we help them level the playing field. We work with them more on a one-on-one basis and try to carve positions in the community that they can find work in and that appeals to them, something they can do, and we really believe there's a job for everybody.
Good, good. And how long have you been working with DARS?
6 years.
6 years. What are some examples of some of the students that you've been able, and the reason I ask you this because it's very different from people saying, okay, this is all they can do. What I'm hearing you say is every person out there has an opportunity to decide what they can do.
Well, you know, this happens to be the 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Right.
And that act was put into play because so many people's talents were being overlooked because they didn't fit the norms that people were looking for. We have one young man who really can't talk. He really can't communicate, but he owns the restaurant that he cleans up in the morning from 9 to 10 to 11 to 12 before lunch. Every salt shaker in there is done perfectly by him. Every napkin is folded just so. Every table is exactly polished with the assistance of a helper that's provided to him by the state. He has joined the ranks of the employed. Never again, hopefully, knock on wood, to be a burden on the state, but instead to be, with a little help, a co-manufacturer, a co-owner, a co-conspirator towards the success of our society.
Mm-hmm. So basically he's found something he can do successfully.
Yes, ma'am. We looked around until we found something that he could do. Jobs like that are more prevalent. They're more obvious. They're more abundant than you know until you start looking. We have some people that, for example, they don't do real well in larger settings, but you put them on something small and intricate, like a watch, which has had a real problem getting people to come back into it.
Right.
So I have 3 boys studying watchmaking right now who are all disabled in the eyes of the world, but they're particularly abled, especially enabled when it comes to the small, tiny, meticulous, over and over work that I, quite frankly, could not do. Not my temperament.
Okay, so in the 8 years that you've been working on this, so not only do you work with school districts, you work with state agencies, and the whole idea is, let's see what a person can do successfully and what they will enjoy doing.
Exactly.
All right, so now let's also talk about the dropout again. And the reason I say that is because you mentioned the school bus, but another statistic that is alarming is that according to the College Board, there are 857 students that drop out of school every day in the United States. Here in the state of Texas, we have a major dropout program. Now, how do you think your program has impacted this in 8 years?
It just so happens I did my dissertation at the University of Colorado on the decision to discontinue school, the factors that affect it. And you've got inter-school mobility, you've got the basic SES, the socioeconomic status of the student, you've got failing grades and everything else, but so many times it's failure to see the purpose. What we try to do with our program, above and beyond anything else, is say, yes, there's a place for you, there's a reason why you're working so hard. Some great day in the morning, you know, it's going to become obvious to you why you're doing what you're doing, and you'll be able to put these things into play. No learning is lost. It may just not be time to put it into play yet.
What about that student that, and having been in the public schools, you and I, we know that doesn't seem to be listening. How do you capture their attention?
Well, there's probably no one blanket, except to say find something that's interesting to them. And that's what we're all about.
And that's why I asked you to bring these items.
Sure.
So there is no one magic bullet.
Oh, no. Except the magic bullet of attraction.
Okay.
You know, because somebody is going to fall in love with something if they just keep looking.
Okay.
If they don't give up, and you know this from your own experience, you're going to find something that every kid's going to go, wow, you think I could do that? Well, that's his alarm. That's his magic golden bell ringing. Of course you can do that. Let's find out how.
And you said exactly what I was leading to, and that is the fact that we never give up on a student.
No, ma'am.
We find as many opportunities. The reason I say that to you is, as parents may be listening to this, and they may be saying, you know, I have a son, I have a daughter that is feeling this very same way. And I know you mentioned the fact that you work in the schools. How would a parent that's listening to this program get in touch with you to say, listen, I need some assistance. Can you visit with my son or daughter? How would that work?
Well, if they're in school, talk to their counselor. Ask their counselor to refer them to us. And we know all the counselors. We have, of course, windows in the world in all the schools. If they'd rather come straight to us, they can go to our website, which is www.helphelp.us. Help us. Okay. I mean, it's pretty simple.
But basically going to the counselor, and all they have to ask is, we need someone from Help. Okay. And that's easy enough.
And well, yes, that is a simplification, but it's an accurate one. Yes.
Okay. Now, let's visit about the program during the 8 years, and it's evolved continually. Okay. You've gone from, let me visit with you about that at the schools, to actually putting computers in the schools, putting softwares in the schools. how do you get all of this done? In other words, there was an article about a kiosk and helping students explore careers. All right, we have a petrochemical program aimed at youth.
This was in 2008. This is in 2016.
Okay.
What you're asking is how do we get from here to here in 8 years? And I guess it was just never give up. Just keep talking.
And really, it's a combination of various. You began by just visiting about that, and you've progressed to, let's talk about the Career Center, let's do all of that.
Let's take one group out and let's talk to them about what happened. Let's take these 10, 12, 15 kids and show them these 3 job opportunities, and then let's ask them what they learned, what they didn't learn, would they do it again, was it valuable, etc. We kept coming back with some really, really good results. If I might show you, when it says here making a difference, we pre and post tested the elementary and the middle school kids, and we got extremely high ratings on their behavior, on their intelligence, the way they saw themselves, their appearance, their popularity, and their happiness. This is the way they looked at themselves. The only thing that went down was their anxiety.
Okay.
So they can feel, even the elementary kids, even the 3rd graders back during this trial program are going, wow, this is a great program. This gives me an opportunity to find out what I really want to do with my life. Instead of being told what I'm going to do, I get a chance to explore all the different opportunities without anybody telling me, hey, this is better than that, this is better than that. These are all great jobs, and the Coastal Bend needs them all.
Okay, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because as adults we have a way of saying well, you might like this or you might like this, but basically or even parents that'll say, this is what you need to do. Mm-hmm. This program allows students to explore what they want to do. What kind of partnerships do you have other than with the public schools and with the state agencies? Do you work with any, like the Craft Training Center, any of those?
Oh yes, Craft Training Center has always been, along with Del Mar, our best friend. We have made so many visits to so many different things that they teach in both places. We've never been asked to pay for visiting. We get to come and audit classes on, if we get 20 kids that want to know how to be scaffold builders, then at Craft Training Center they're going to let us come and watch how to build a scaffold.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So basically the students are allowed to actually witness the training that goes with that.
That's what we do, maybe that other people don't do quite as much, is we take the kids where the action is. We don't expect them to learn as much from a video as they learn from a personal witness.
Well, the reason I ask you, because really it's not a field trip. It's an on-site visit to the training that's occurring.
Very good.
And the reason I say that, because we can take all sorts of field trips that won't make a difference, but this is actually students observing what the training looks like if they were to be involved.
And in many cases they get to actually participate, they get to hoist themselves around, they get to do some of the things. Now we have to be careful of certain things, but we go places that other people don't, and we get to do things that other people don't, because we have the insurance to cover it.
What if a student says, I really like that, where am I going to get the money to do this? Then what?
Pretty easy, it's free. We subsist on grants, foundation endowments. We apply for funding from a number of different places. We have a number of different scholarships that come to us each year. We could always use more, but we have enough to do what we've done without ever charging the school district or the student a penny.
Okay, and that's great. The question, though, is a student says, I want to be that welder. I want to be that nurse. I don't have the money. Then what?
Well, luckily there are ways. At the Craft Training Center, there's a scholarship department there.
Good.
Where you can apply for welding, let's say, because it's fairly expensive over the 3 years that you need to go to be a semi-master welder. It's surprisingly affordable once they get through helping you. And welders start making money pretty quick. So there's loans available. There are trainings that are available at little or no cost. And then there's the referrals to the places that are hiring.
Okay. So therefore, the whole thing is we're going to help you find those
sure.
dollars. Okay. Because time is getting short. What is the one thing you want the community to know about HELP?
We're here to help your child, your loved one, make a difference in their own lives and in the lives of the ones that they love, which includes you. There's nothing so prevalent in this world nor so heartbreaking as the best that we have never coming forth. So if we can help engender the best that your child can do, then that's what we want to do. It's as simple as that. If you want to remember anything about us, just remember our name.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
Doctor. I
ma'am.
appreciate it. One of the reasons I asked that HELP be here is that, remember, the College Board has told us 857 students every day leave our public schools because they don't see what difference education is going to make. We have programs that help students see the benefits of math, science, and learning about the world. This has been Education Number One Priority, and I'm Dr. Mary Jane Garza.